State Representative Jeffrey Elmore with the first weekly session update of the short session here in 2022. Wanted to share with you today some things that are happening in the General Assembly, and the reason why I haven't done a weekly session update up to this point is in the beginning stages you don't really have a lot of legislation that starts moving back and forth in between the chambers. Well, we're now to a time where we're starting to see legislation move and be voted on in both the Senate and the House. And I'm also going to give you some highlights on the budget process and some local information about some projects that are happening in the district between some grants that we received, several good news items dealing with Wilkes and Alexander counties. So first, let me tell you a little bit about some of the bills that moved this week. First, we sent a bill to the governor. So it did go from the House, made crossover last session, and now it's come back from the Senate. And this is arson law revisions. And what this act does, it increases punishment for certain arson offenses. So we're tightening up this situation, which we saw a spike in these type things, especially when the riots were going on a couple of years ago. So that passed with overwhelming support, 42-1 in the Senate and 89-6 in the House. Now, a bill that we moved from the House to the Senate this week, I was the floor manager on this bill, is to clarify the role of virtual education in our public schools, also in our charter schools, and our virtual charter that is statewide. And I know that seems real confusing, but this is the litany of virtual education options that we have in the state. And up to this point, with COVID, everybody was doing some sort of remote education. And after COVID, there were many parents that wanted to keep that type option available for their kid, but we really had no regulations or parameters to it. It basically was the Wild West. The local school systems could handle it however they wanted to. Anybody could handle it however they wanted to. And it made it difficult to be able to assess the children, understand the growth, the performance, if they're getting quality instruction. So we put some basically parameters together for all of those different sectors. That bill passed today 72-23, and it will be going over to the Senate, most likely go into what's called conference, where we will meet with a smaller group of legislators to work out any differences. We also passed House Bill 1046, which is expand the aviation sales tax exemption. Currently, we have a sales tax exemption on small airplanes, and it was tailored when Honda Jet came to North Carolina. And what we find in the aviation industry, that we can attract more folks to get maintenance done on their airplanes by doing some of these tax changes. So this was overwhelmingly supported, 96-5 in the House, and now it's moved to the Senate. Another bill that we passed was HB 1008, clarify sex offender registration. This is clarifying where a person that is on the sex offender registry, to make sure that they don't fall through the cracks, that they're doing what they are supposed to be doing because they're on this, because the serious nature of it. It clarifies some rules on that to where they have to go to their county of origin dealing with the paperwork with that. So that technical change, I think, will help protect a lot of people. And the Senate passed one that would really highlight, they've passed several things that have been quite interesting, but one that I want to point out to you is they passed the Farm Act. We have an annual Farm Act that goes between the chambers each biennium, and they have moved the Farm Act over to us. And some things that are dealt with in the Farm Act is we're dealing with the Sweet Potato Commission fighting what is called nematodes. That is a small bug that is affecting sweet potatoes. We also dealt with lining hemp laws with the federal law. That has changed, and we have tried to just match what the feds are requiring us to do with it. And there was some farm building codes changes that were in the Farm Act. So some important pieces that need to be passed, and now that's in the hands of the House, and I'll give you updates on how it moves in the future. Some things that I wanted to point out that was happening in different parts of the government this week. The State Transportation Board voted on a couple of projects that were in Division 11 in Wilkes. They were voting on intersection improvements to the Austin Trap Hill Road in Trap Hill, where it intersects with Trap Hill Road, that large curve. And also some pedestrian safety improvements there in downtown North Wilkesboro, going across 10th Street, to try to make that a little bit safer for people crossing the street, because we have a lot of people that walk in downtown and utilize the crosswalks there, coming from the residential areas down into the downtown area. Also some highlights here. I got the report from Wilkes and Alexander on what is called the GO grant. This is from the Outdoor Heritage Advisory Council, which their whole mission, it's a state-funded entity, and their whole mission is to encourage outdoor activity, and it will fund grant programs that encourage outdoor activities in the schools. And it's very exciting. My district, 94, Wilkes and Alexander, have really done really well on these grants and have come up with some very creative ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 grants were funded in District 94 over this past cycle, with things ranging from an outdoor classroom at East Wilkes High School to East Alexander Middle School, having an outdoor classroom that has shade coverings, seating, and whiteboards. West Alexander Middle School creating weather stations, solar kits, and composting with it. So it's very exciting that our schools are utilizing this resource that's so important. We need to do everything we can to try to encourage our kids to be outdoors, do outdoor activities, from hunting to fishing to physical exercise, because I personally believe that our children are spending way too much time playing on their phones and things inside, and we need to get them outside. And very exciting on that. There was also some exciting news from Golden Leaf that the Wilkes EDC received some money to do some research study, basically, on industrial sites too. That was announced this week. So good stuff happening in the district. Budget update. I'm one of the full appropriation chairs, and we are in discussions with the Senate, working through it. We've been in this room upstairs, and that's pretty much where I stay, talking about the different aspects of the budget. We have gotten reports from our subcommittees on needs of adjustments that are made. If you remember, our budget runs 2 years, so this year is just technically an adjustment year, so it's not creating a brand new budget. We do have a budget in place. This is just making adjustments to where there may be some additional needs that we need to put resources into. So we're in that process, moving very quickly through that process, and we will be working on it basically all next week to try to hash out the details between us in the House and our colleagues in the Senate. So that's an update from Raleigh for this week, and I will be doing another weekly session update next week.